The first dream to be a doctor was on my father's dying bed. That was 32 years ago.
Wow.
And I promised him that I'll be a doctor and I'll cure him of his diabetes. Unfortunately, he died, I think, 6 months after that. But that dream to still be a doctor for others, not just for my family or for my father, but for others to help humanity, that dream didn't die. So I had this battle that for 3 years, I had to struggle through it. But as a Christian too, I know that the Bible said that the calling of God is without repentance.
Wow.
I had to go through every part, and like Jonah, I finally found myself to that same place I didn't want to go. But it was after that my life had a leap. One of the lessons from my story is that you can be better. If I, some years back, roaming in the village, fetching water, doing menial jobs, and the rest of them, could come to a place where I'm thriving, I'm excelling, sitting in palaces, having dinner with the queen, speaking at different conferences all over around the globe, then it's possible. There's something I saw on the WhatsApp chat of one of my junior colleagues. I was so shocked. He put up a picture of me speaking at a very big audience in Europe, and he said, if Uche could do this, that this photo encourages him every day to know that this is possible.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Let's Talk. Joining me today is Dr. Uche Anyanwagu, originally from Nigeria. Uche is a clinical epidemiologist and public health physician. Not only that, he's also an author, he's a poet, and also a creative writer. He obtained his medical degree in Nigeria and proceeded to the United Kingdom for his postgraduate studies in clinical epidemiology. He has about 40 publications and over 4,000 reads. I'm like, you have to tell us the secret for doing this. He currently works as a general practice of medicine registrar, and also a visiting clinical researcher fellow at Newcastle University in the United Kingdom. I am personally very thrilled by the achievements of this brilliant, multi-talented young African scientist and his drive and passion for excellence. So on today's session, he will be sharing his journey of how he has, achieved this level, how he has been able to come this far, and obviously some of the challenges he has faced and what has kept him persistent. And also what the young generation can also learn from his story and journey. On this note, welcome, Uche.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here. Thanks very much once again for having me and hosting me on your show. I consider this a very rare privilege because it's going to give us a platform to reach out to our own people. Thank you.
Great, awesome. So let's set the ball rolling. You
Good.
are doing a fantastic work as a medical doctor from Africa, and obviously with so much passion for a positive change. And it makes me wonder what your dream was as a child. And as you grew up, the things you encountered that made you so interested in doing science. So could you share a little about that with us?
Okay, I think my dream started as a child. The first dream to be a doctor was on my father's dying bed. That was 32 years ago.
Wow.
And I promised him that I'll be a doctor and I'll cure him of his diabetes. Unfortunately, he died, I think, 6 months after that. But that dream to still be a doctor for others, not just for my family or for my father, but for others to help humanity, that dream didn't die, even as my father died. So I carried on with that. I'm being raised in my hometown of Old Umuahia by my mother, was a housewife, and being 5 of 6 children, and none of us was an adult when our father died, not even the eldest of us. So it was quite hard. I mean, I had a very difficult childhood in terms of having the basic resources to get by in life. But I kept every dream alive. I kept that promise I made to my father in my heart. And I kept this dream alive. And we had to struggle through life. My siblings and I, everybody, we all struggled through to remain true to this dream. And I'm happy that so many years after, I became a doctor, and Providence smiled on me sometime later in life when I had the opportunity, a scholarship offer to come abroad for a master's degree. 6 months into it, I had another scholarship for a PhD. Wow. And they had to wait for me to finish my master's to join. And guess what? The PhD was now on diabetes, which was actually what's then of my interest first in medicine. So I felt it was my life coming in full circle and coming back again to fulfill that promise I made to my father as a child on his dying bed. And on the dedication page of my PhD thesis, it read, "To my late father, to that promise made 29 years ago, I'll be a doctor and I'll cure you of your diabetes." So I dedicated it to it. And I'm also glad that the research has gone on to inform evidence that is driving the way diabetes is being managed today. My father died at 55, but I feel so glad to see people live with diabetes up to 90s, 100s as a result of the improvement that has gone on over these years. So that's a snippet of the story of my life and the dream and how I've been able to keep it alive. But it's that promise I made to my father, but it's that promise I made to myself that even after my father was dead and gone, that promise didn't die. So that's it.
I'm glad you already put it out there that it was a journey for you, and it started from that promise you made to your father.
Yeah.
And I know that every journey takes time, it takes commitment and effort. So even after making that promise and deciding that that was what you wanted to do, were there some intentional steps you took to make it happen?
Of course. I see life personally as a journey, never a destination, because we never get to it alive. We never get to that destination alive. We keep moving. And knowing that life is a journey, I never rest wherever I am. Even when you get to a particular place, you move on. You just keep moving on, keep being better than you were yesterday. In my write-ups, I'll say that the only person you're allowed to compete with is that person facing you on your mirror yesterday, not any other person. So you have to try to be better than that person you saw in the mirror yesterday. So I see life as a journey, and I try to better myself each way. And if this is a journey, there are times when you get tired. You don't stop. There are times you get difficulties on the way. You don't stop. There are times the road becomes so dreary, the road becomes so tough, and you meet obstacles on the way. You don't stop your journey halfway. So I've met obstacles, as I told you, my father's early death. He was the breadwinner of the house, and it took a huge bite on us financially. So as a child, I had to do menial jobs and so many things to be able to raise funds for our school fees. And going through medical school, my siblings, everybody, no matter how little they had, they all contributed to make sure that I never lacked things in life. So I have had so many obstacles, but I was kept by, one, that promise I made, not just to my father alone, but to myself. Two, my belief that life is a journey. Just keep walking, keep going. When you get tired, drink water, rest, keep moving on. Never you stop at any stage. And knowing that I should also try to be better than myself. So I've been kept by all this, that even when I meet all these challenges, even those that seem insurmountable, I've been able to go through them in life.
Yes, I'm so glad you share all of that. And I would also want you to share some of the achievements you have had. And the primary reason that we want to put it out there is so that the young people who are probably in the same situation or have gone through worse situations could also know that it is possible to achieve your dreams. It is possible to have a career in science, just like the mentors we see out there. So, what is some of the achievements? I know probably there are lots, but what are some of the achievements that you have had in your career so far?
Okay, thank you. I just forgot to add the other time too that even when you're going on this journey, there are times it may not be so clear where you are heading to. Because there's a stage in my life after medical school where I was juggling between my love for pediatrics and surgery. I wanted to be a pediatric surgeon. And when I knew the intention, the reason for my coming on earth, which is epidemiology, public health. So I had this battle that for 3 years, I had to struggle through it. But as a Christian too, I know that the Bible said that the calling of God is without repentance.
Wow.
I had to go through every part, and like Jonah, I finally found myself to that same place I didn't want to go. But it was after that that my life had a leap. And it took me through stages of having an accident on my way to write the exam to get into surgery training. After 6 months, being sick, 2 days to the exam and being on hospital bed on admission. After another 6 months, I was now able to write the examination, and that was the first examination I failed in my life, despite preparing for it and knowing that it should be. So it's certain that this is not where you are destined to go. I knew within myself, I didn't like much of public health epidemiology in school, but when I came out and started going through life, it was becoming clear. Even some friends, even some ministers would tell me, this is what we think it should be. I'm like, I know, but I don't like it. So at the end of the day, we got in there. Now, by the time I found myself on the right path, I saw things clearing up very well. I took the exams for public health. I made the best results in Nigeria. If you check behind me, it's one particular plaque that is hanging there behind me. I made the best results in the whole country in public health. And that seemed to open so many other doors. So that was the first, will I say, big achievement after my medical school. Then shortly after that, I got offered for residency training, about 3. I had to choose where to go.
Wow.
After that, I got a scholarship to travel abroad for masters. I was into that. I also had another scholarship to do a PhD. And not only that, we had it won't show here. I have some other awards. I mean, I was nominated for the best research in diabetes in the UK in 2017.
Wow.
I was within our local region. I was also nominated for excellence. I won an award for excellence in research, in clinical research, because of the quantity and quality of work that I've done within our local communities to help in clinical practice. I've also been to the US where I presented a work at a conference, and it generated a whole lot of interest. And I was being interviewed, and some of them came out. A friend saw it in her father's clinic, a newspaper, and I was on the headline. I mean, with my photo on the headline there, and so many other local things here within the UK and outside. I've also had the opportunity to speak at the European Association for the Study of Diabetes conference. And above all, the current guideline for the management of diabetes in the whole world, which is issued by the European Association of the Study of Diabetes and the American Diabetes Association, they issue a joint statement on the management of type 2 diabetes in the whole world, has 2 of my papers cited in it. So that tells me that, yes, what we are doing is actually helping to impact our people's lives. So these are just but a few of the awards or achievements or some other things that have come my way. Even currently too, in my role as a visiting clinical research fellow, I've also gotten funding for a program just recently. So the list goes on and on and on. It's been a very lovely journey. Once, irrespective of skin color, you are dedicated to what you are doing, and you are doing what is impactful, what is necessary, what will benefit the man on the street. That is what life generally is all about.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I like that you talk about all these beautiful achievements, and a big congratulations on it. And you also talked about the struggles you had. So looking at the struggles you had and how far you've come, I want to know if you were to mention 3 things that have kept you persistent in achieving your dreams, what will those be?
One is that promise to myself. I keep saying it. Everyone has to get that promise to yourself that this is what I want to make out of this life. I have this philosophy that on everybody's head is a question mark. And we are out here to answer that question. I think we didn't just fall into here. We didn't just arrive by big bang, boom, and everybody appeared and scattered everywhere. There is a purpose to this life. So, and that purpose is a question mark hanging on our head. And there was a poem I learned in secondary school which captured it for me. And the problem people have in life is that they end up copying other people's answers. They end up not realizing they have a question mark on their head. They end up copying the wrong things as well, or they end up answering the wrong question. But that poem said that once you get that question right, your dream will take flight, take you to a new height with bright shining light. So strive with all your might and keep the dream in sight. To your goals, hold tight. You will be all right. So yeah, so that poem inspired me. So that's one thing. Keep getting the questions right and making that promise to yourself that I'm going to answer the question I was brought on earth to answer. That is it. The number 2 thing that helped me, I keep saying this too, is family. I still regard my family as my backbone. My backbone. They've always been there through thick and thin. And knowing what we passed through during our childhood made us closely knit. So we also need to know that we have to be there for them, to know that to whom much is given is much expected. And by family too, I extend it down to our communities who look up to us as the light, as the people that would help. So whenever I remember where I'm coming from, as an African, I remember where I'm coming from, and I know that the stakes are very high. I have this quote: from Africa I came, for Africa I came, and to Africa I'll return. Because everything I'm learning, everything I'm doing, charity begins at home. I should also try to bring it back home and see how we can translate all these to things that will benefit the society. So whenever I remember that, I also try to get focused and keep moving despite the obstacles. I'm like, no, the stakes are high. We're not going to fail our people. We're not going to fail ourselves. Obama said that the road ahead will be long. Our climb will be steep. We will not get there in 1 year or 10. But America, I've never been hopeful than I am tonight that we'll surely get there. So it will be a steep climb. It will be a very tough march, but we'll keep moving on in spite of the challenges, because the day is short, the task is hard. Ours is not to finish the task, but we are never free to neglect it. So we just have to put in the little we can, answer that question mark on our head, and pass it on, a better, more vibrant society to the next generation.
Yes, wow, that's great. So I like that you bring in Africa, and as an African, I am very passionate about how we can have more young ones who are interested in science or would emerge as great scientists from Africa. And so I would like to ask you, how do you think we can make this dream a reality? And what role do we all have to play in making that dream a reality?
Okay, thank you. I think our dream, Africa, unfortunately, hasn't been a fortunate continent in terms of if you rank it with other continents across the world. And currently too, our leaders, majority of our leaders all over Africa, they don't also seem to be getting things right. It bleeds my heart to know that even the engine room of most of these developed societies where we are, is being run by Africans as well. So there's nothing wrong with the African man per se, genetically or anything, there's nothing wrong, but it's just the environment that we work in that is actually stifling us, that is limiting us. So that's why I think my dream, as I said, from Africa I came, for Africa I came, and to Africa I'll return, is to see how we can translate some of the things we have learned here, some transferable skills, some attitudes, some very lovely attributes, and apply them back home. We all have a role to play. So those of us in the diaspora, we have to really unite. We have to collaborate. We have to come together. We have to harness all the different potentials, this one in epidemiology, this one in medicine, this one in engineering, and the rest of them. Then we have to always think home. So we now look at our home and see how we can modify whatever things we've learned here and adapt it to our local communities. We should maintain contact with our people at home. Currently, I have a research team that we formed, and we have people scattered over, people from home and people in the diaspora, so that some of the skills we have here, we can also transfer for people at home. I may not be at home at the moment, but we have works going on currently at home in terms of medical research in Nigeria that we are collaborating with our people at home. So we need that transfer of skills, of knowledge, and collaboration with people everywhere so that we can better things at home. Then again, we still need to maybe form very strong lobby groups to see how we can get our governments thinking right so that they can galvanize the huge potentials that we have scattered all over the globe to come back to Africa to do things that will better our homeland.
Wow, so many great points. Africa come together in getting our governments to improve on some of the decisions that have been made. Yeah, you said it all. Thank you so much. So before we round up this session to go to the next session where we talk more about your research and your wonderful book, I would like you to share any final words you have with our viewers who plan on building a career in science, and also what you would want others to learn from your story.
Yeah, one of the lessons from my story is that you can be better. If I, some years back, roaming in the village, fetching water, doing menial jobs and the rest of them, could come to a place where I'm thriving, I'm excelling, sitting in palaces, having dinner with the queen, speaking at different conferences all over around the globe, then it's possible. There's something I saw on the WhatsApp chat of one of my junior colleagues. I was so shocked. He put up a picture of me speaking at a very big audience in Europe, and he said, if Uche could do this, that this photo encourages him every day to know that this is possible. And whenever I go home, I tell them, I'm not somebody new. I was born here, I was brought up here, I grew up amongst you. So if I could go this far in life, you too can do it. So it's just for them to look at my life and also try to live true to their dreams, because these dreams are actually theirs and they're the ones that will make it a reality. So that's the lessons that they will hear from us. Then concerning the beauty of science, why science is so lovely, why I should encourage people to enter into science is that it's problem solving. It's not about thinking abstract things. Science is all about problem solving. It's all about looking at what is not in society and fashioning out ways of getting it. Today, we are talking, when the pandemic struck, people felt it's not so easy for people to hold large conferences, but people thought out things. And before we knew what was going on, Teams, Zoom, everything, they were all there and people were still having conferences and doctors were still seeing patients as if they were seeing them. So that's the beauty of science. And the good thing about science is that it lends itself to improvement. What was there? I mean, my desktop now is very slim, but before it used to be something very big and large. But science keeps getting better and better. And that's one thing, the practicality, the ability of science to solve everyday problems, the ability to make you to think outside the box. It's not something abstract, it's something concrete. It's something that is relatable. It's something that you can look at and say, yes, we can do this, or we can improve on this, and you get on to work. So I encourage people to embrace science because it's actually the key to any development known to mankind.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk platform, Uche. I believe your experiences and the points you shared will go a long way to inspire our viewers. I am inspired. So I know it will go a long way to inspire our viewers. And to our viewers, please make sure to check out Uche's website to find out more about his work. We will take a break here. And in our next video, Uche talks about the beauty of epidemiology and expand on his book, Before Your Next Sex. Link is posted in bio. I am your host, Emilia. Let's enjoy science together.